So guys, we're back with another POV video. Here we are, as you can see, in the cockpit of the Mercedes A-Class. It's been a while since I've done one of these. If you look at me in the mirror, this is how we are currently setting up. We've got a fuel light on, but that's fine. We've got 47 miles in the tank, so let's go ahead and get into this drive. So I did forget to do the intro. So this is the car we are working with. It is the Mercedes A-Class A180 CDI. So it's a 1.5 litre diesel. As you can see, it's a 5-door hatchback. We've actually not got my car in front. We've got her sister's car, which is an A3. This is the diesel version. Obviously mine is the 1.4 litre petrol. So this is what we're going to be driving today. If you want a full review of this car, I'll link it in the top right corner up there. That way you can take a look at the full in-depth breakdown of the car. But today we're going to be driving it, so let's get into it. So some things you're going to need to know about this A-Class is, one, it's an automatic, and two, it's a 1.5 litre diesel. So obviously mine is a 1.4 petrol. I've only ever owned petrol cars, so that's what I'm used to, and I've only ever owned manual cars as well, so driving this automatic is a little different. However, what I will say is it feels a lot slower, and that's just because it is a lot slower than my Audi A3, so you have to bear with me with this one. However, first assumptions on this drive is that it's actually a pretty decent drive, I'm not going to lie. So we're going to go through an array of roads here. So we're now going through sort of what I would class as our town roads. These are what I call town roads. So my first impressions of this car on the town roads is that it's nice. You know, you don't have to keep changing gear, especially through traffic, which is obviously the perks of having an automatic. In terms of the feel of it in the road, I can tell you that the road noise is a lot less than the Audi. That's one thing I've noticed straight off the bat. Comfort wise, I think it is slightly more comfortable, I would say. However, I don't think there's too much of a difference. Not quite as firm of a ride as in the Audi. However, the handling does feel a little bit more off. I feel like I have much more control over my Audi than I do on this one. First impressions, it's all right, but as you can see, the kickdown's quite unresponsive sometimes. You have to really like either put it in manual to do it or just give it a second. My patience isn't that great, so I definitely just usually go in manual, mainly because manual is more fun as well, using the flappy paddles. So yeah, if you look down here, so this is what it looks like. This is the rest of the car. The cockpit and sort of the surroundings I think are really beautiful, if I'm honest. A little bit outdated, but obviously the newer models are going to have like the touchscreens and stuff. This is a 2014 plate, so it's going to be a little bit dated, but not too bad, which, you know, can't ask for much more than that when this car is owned by a 22-year-old. Coming up to another roundabout here. So these are sort of more of the 40 roads now, and it, you know, it still feels very similar to, you know, the roads with the 30s on and whatnot. So let's put this car to some little tests and see how it reacts. So what we're going to do, come into this lane and we're going to go for a little country drive and see how that works out for us. Handles roundabouts really well, ever so smoothly. You might remember in my other POV videos I came down this same route, so it'll be interesting to compare the two. I'll put a link to that in the top right again, to the last POV I did on my A3 down this route. Actually, automatics, as I said before, are perfect because you don't have to worry about changing gear and whatnot, especially on these windy roads. The steering wheel's a lot thinner than the Audi. I can compare it to that. The handling, it feels all right. You know, the handling feels all right. I'm not uncomfortable going around the corners. I wouldn't say it's as nice as the Audi. However, I'd say less sporty, more comfortable. I think this is more of a business-like car. The Audi's more of a sort of a Gary Boy sort of feel to it, more of a, you know, rigid suspension and whatnot. Just waiting for a 60 now, just to be able to open up the gas a little bit and just show you guys about like the acceleration and stuff. Obviously, like I've mentioned before, the acceleration isn't as good as what I'm used to or what I reviewed last time. So a couple of features to run through with you. This car does have two options. It has the cruise control or the rev limiter variant, depending on whichever your preference is. I don't know why you would go for the rev limiter. I know that a couple of BMWs have the rev limiter. I know that my Audi has the cruise control. I definitely prefer the cruise control over the rev limiter, so that's what I would go for in this. One of the features that I love is the consumption, how it shows you what your consumption is on a little graph rather than just giving you a number. So it gives you a score for your economy and how well you're doing with your driving. So you got your acceleration, your constant, and your coasting. Personally, when I'm doing a long drive in this car, which I have done for work, I like to just see how much green I can get. So the minute we're on 45, that's because we started with a bit of a town drive. But yeah, we're just waiting for some road to be able to open up a little bit now, so hopefully that will come soon. So we're moving from a 40 into a 50 out, so let's just... So you see the delay on the Kickdown there. So what I did was I just completely dumped the accelerator. Now the Kickdown in theory should have been a bit more quicker than that. I don't know if I'm expecting too much of it. I've just known and experienced in other cars which have better gearboxes and dual clutches that it does work a lot quicker than that and doesn't make so much of a racket and the revs flying up. Maybe it's just because the car is not built with the most horsepower, which is why it's like reacting like that. So on these country roads, it is going to do you nicely. At the moment, if I said the car has to be built for a certain thing, you know, like I said, the Audi is a bit of a hybrid, it does well in both. I'm thinking this does well in both, although because it's a diesel, I'm probably saying long distances is probably better suited. On journeys where you're going to need to be going up to speed quickly, I wouldn't recommend this one. I do think that is very comfortable on these sort of faster speeds, although I have noticed once you hit around the 65 mark, it feels a little bit shaky. I don't know if it's just because of what I'm used to or not, but yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of going, you know, around 70 miles an hour in this car compared to what I've driven before. If you are enjoying the video, please remember to hit that like button and comment your thoughts down below. We've got some beautiful scenery around here, which is just completely overgrown, so you're not going to be able to see it at all. Hit that subscribe button if you are new around here, and ding on that notification bell to stay up to date with future uploads. We're trying to hit 2,000 subscribers before the end of the year, so I'd really appreciate that. Also, let me know in the comments down below if you're enjoying these style of POV videos. Like I say, I enjoy making them. However, it depends on what you guys want to see at the end of the day, isn't it? So there's a nice little shot of the bad. My GoPro isn't connected to my phone anymore, so I can't actually see what I'm looking at. So this is all freehand. So I apologise if it's a little bit off. But we're trying to make do with what we've got. So I think what I'll do next is just turn around and come back, and then we'll try this on some motorway driving. There's a little example of the Kickdown there. That one was fairly smooth. It's just more if you dump your foot on the accelerator, that's when it's gonna kick up a little bit of squeal and say, no, I don't like this. So we'll do another example of Kickdown. How's it working? I didn't really kick down there. See, it takes a little bit of the delay. What about we put this in manual mode? Just have a little bit of fun with it. Try out the paddles, see if the paddles are responsive. I prefer manual mode in this just because it gives me something to do with my hands. If I'm in a really lazy, chilled out session, then that's when I will go for the automatic. But, you know, nearing 2,000 revs, we'll go up to 7th gear and keep the revs as minimal as possible. Try and save that diesel, save the turtles, save the environment and all that. Just quickly, while we're here, I have launched my new streaming channel on Twitch where we play some video games. We're waiting for the new releases at the moment, so it's a little bit of mix and match between games while we wait for that. Feel free to go drop me a follow on there. We're trying to hit 50 followers to get that Twitch affiliate, as well as doing at least 3 streams a week for a minimum of 2 hours, and we're just trying to build a little bit of a following on there. I've also got a TikTok as well where I document my daily interactions with social media and how I'm trying to turn it into a secondary income. So feel free to check out all of that. I'll link it all in the description below. Feel free to check that out and leave your thoughts down below on what you think I should do on that channel / streaming service, and then we'll work with it from there. So we're just on our way home now, and then we'll do some motorway driving. I do love the paddles. The paddles are semi-responsive, so say if I drop it now and drop it again, it's fairly receptive. So say if I wanted to drop down and accelerate, it does that. But then if I want to go up, Do you know what? The paddles are fairly responsive. Considering the automatic isn't that responsive, I would say the paddles are quite responsive. Like if I click it, it goes down almost instantaneous. You can feel the car change a little bit, so it's a little bit slower going down compared to going up. So if I go up now, you can feel it change literally with about a second. When I go down, probably about 1.5 seconds. Going up, yeah. So I would probably say there's about a second going up a gear and a 1.5 seconds going down a gear, which, you know, isn't the end of the world. It's slow in terms of performance cars, but with this being a comfort car and not really after that performance, we're about to get blinded by, yeah, that's beautiful. With this being a comfort car over performance, we're not really too worried about that. A lot of you guys said you wanted the badge in the shots, so there you go. We're sticking the badges in. The one issue with this car, apart from the seatbelt warning light being on, we did get it fixed, but the warning lights come back on, so no clue why we need to get that sorted, is that the aircon doesn't work. So it's currently like 29 degrees outside, and I am sweating my bollocks off because we have no aircon. It only does hot air. Oh, I forgot that I was in manual mode there, so we don't want to be ragging it around. So let's quickly get into the right gear. So in terms of the stats for this car, I will put some on the screen now. I don't know them off the top of my head. I think the 0 to 60 is around 10 seconds, which is quite slow for the car that it is. So let's give it a bit of welly on motorway driving. So look, I'm going to floor it. So it wasn't me flooring it fully just because we haven't got enough fuel for that. But do you know what? It got up to the speed, didn't it? In terms of, like, you know, cutting across lanes, you know, say if I wanted to overtake, it does the job, doesn't it? So if I come back over here now, you know, this car does the job. It feels comfortable on the motorway. Like I said, as long as you don't go like above that 70 mark, then you should be fine. It feels a little bit shaky at 70, but not too bad. Maybe I've just been spoiled with how smooth the A3 was, but we're going to get blinded here for a second. But luckily this is our turn in, so it doesn't matter too much. In terms of like the smoothness of the ride, I'm really impressed with that. It's not bumpy at all, and the road noise is barely noticeable. In my Audi, you can just hear the road noise, you can feel the bumps. I'm really impressed with how comfy this car is to drive. So as we come towards the end of the drive, I just want to summarize the experience. So I would say from a comfort perspective, this car is beautiful to drive. It feels amazing. You don't, I've got no music on and I can't really notice the sound too much of the road noise. It handles okay. The acceleration's okay. If you want excitement, this is not the car for you. If you do a lot of long journeys, and if you want some good fuel consumption as well as a comfy drive, then this car is for you. If you're looking for a car that has excitement, it has speed, it has acceleration, then I wouldn't recommend this car. I would completely avoid it and go for something quicker. If you're looking for a German hatchback, the A3 is definitely quicker. The BMW 1 Series is the quickest out of all of them and the most fun to drive because it's a rear-wheel drive car. So if you're looking for that end of the spectrum, then I definitely recommend the 1 Series over this. Comfort, I would say this is probably the most comfortable one that I've been in, down to the road noise and the comfort of driving itself. And there you have it, guys. That is going to be all for this video. So this is the car that we just drove. Like I said, if you're looking for something that's comfortable and something which is smooth to drive, doesn't sound too bad, this is your car. If you're looking for something a bit quicker, go with the A3 or a BMW 1 Series. Anyway, guys, that is going to be the end of the video. Please remember to hit that like button if you did enjoy. Comment down below if you were a fan of the video as well. Let me know your thoughts. Hit that subscribe button if you did enjoy the video. That way you can stay around for more content. Also, ding dong that notification bell, and that way you can stay tuned for every single time I upload. One last look at the interior. I think we smashed this drive. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.